Okay, so now it is March 8th, 2022. We're going to get on to doing some cabbage here very soon. Okay? In light of what our governments are doing, not to mention it's good for you if you can incorporate it into your diet. Okay? Apparently you can water bath fermented cabbage because of the type of vegetable that it is. That's what I'm going to end up doing here, people. In the end, after the fact. Okay? Cabbage is high in vitamin C, but when you ferment it, apparently the content of vitamin C goes higher and higher and higher. And that's why in a time of famine, okay, you know, where food is scarce, fermented cabbage is a lifesaver when it comes to scurvy, because you cure scurvy with vitamin C. Okay? So orange peels would be high in vitamin C. Pine needles, right? The pine needle is more high in vitamin C than the spruce needle, but you can drink the spruce needle and still get vitamin C. And cabbage fermented, right, is a fail-safe method to prevent scurvy from developing because of lack of vitamin C. So that's the long-term goal. The short-term goal is to get it made, right? Can it, right? And then eat it just to boost up your immune system in general. All right. Like I've got amari. Like I'm pretty proud of amari, people. Serious. And oh boy, is he ever, like, his eating skills are just getting, he's even getting a little ginger about it. He's really trying hard not to bite the spoon, right? I'm so proud of him, because he's very aware, right? Every now and then his teeth seem to lock, and he just, I don't know if it's because he really likes what he's got, or, you know, maybe it's just something to do with his body, I don't know. But 95% of the time now, oh boy, I'm so impressed. So anyway, I got him eating plain yogurt, people. I mean, of course I mix it in with his other food a little bit, but I can give him a scoopful pretty much of plain yogurt and he'll eat it, which is really good because that's where the most probiotics are for the gut, right? Not the ones that are made with fruit. You want to try and avoid those ones. Those ones are like a dessert. They're more like a treat, right? They're not the actual, you know. So anyway, right? So if I like, what did I just, oh, I don't know. I gave him something. I've been giving him a fair amount of plain yogurt with his foods mixed in, right? And he eats salmon with mayonnaise. He eats sardines with mayonnaise. He eats stood gnats, which is pig's feet and jelly, which the jelly, right, the collagen is good for him, right? He eats liver, right? I mean, what kid does that, right? But he does, right? And he likes it. So anyway, yeah, just gotta be happy for those little moments of whatever, right? And so I wanted to mention, if you buy sunflower seeds, you put them in a jar, just put them in the fridge. They'll last a long, 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 long time. So before I start the cabbage, I haven't had a chance to open up this bag yet. Okay? And I'm going to jar them up into separate jars, seal them with the vacuum sealer, and then I'm putting them in Auntie Shimei's fridge. I figure I'll get 2 full jars plus something for upstairs. What are the nutrients in this? I don't know. 170 calories for 30 grams. 3.5 tablespoons. That's a lot of calories considering all things said. But here's what intrigued me about it, people, okay? There's a long list here. Potassium, 9%. Calcium, 2%. Iron, 14%. Vitamin E, 1%. Thiam, 38%. Riboflavin, 6%. Niacin, 8%. Vitamin B6, 12%. Folate, right? 9%. Phosphorus, 36%. Magnesium, 45%. Zinc, 20%. Copper, 41%. And magnesium is 93%. That's a lot of nutrients. Okay? So I'm going to bag those up and get them, because right, I cleared off my table over there. I'm kind of having a crisis here, but besides that point, I'm going to start washing my blankets for my bunker. Right after we took Tisha's bed apart, God blessed me with like these really beautiful heavy quilts. Right, so I get to wash those now and get them ready. Right, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up a little corner for bunker material, if it should ever come to that. Right, and blankets is one of them. So I will get this started, and then once I get that going, take a few things downstairs. Then I'm going to come up, and then I guess we're going to work on cabbage. I bought garlic powder, rejarred it, cuckoo, no, long term. The container still kind of smells like garlic, but it's such a big container, you know, and I really don't want to be, you know, purchasing 1 gallon glass jars right now, because one, I don't have the money, and two, you know, I just want to get on with other things in life, right? So I'm thinking to put some of these black-eyed peas in this, right? I'm debating. I've only got 2 jars of these left. Those I can continue to buy off and on, though. I like these ones. These ones are nice. So hold on. Okay, so what I'm doing now, Pastor Granny's daughter, right? She gave me this goat cheese. It's called Brie. It's been in Auntie Shimei's fridge for a while, and it's ripening in there, people. But it's not molding. Okay? Not molding. So it's very sharp. So if you wanted to make a dumpling with some meat inside and a little bit of cheese for flavor, it would work for something like that. Right? Like a tortilla or whatever, right? Or you could sprinkle it on top of pizza, or I'd like cook with it. Like I ate some already. It's very sharp. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just vacuum sealing them individually. Just whatever I can, you know, she gave me some, I don't eat that kind of cheese, feta cheese. It's just been sitting in my fridge. Right? So, before it really goes bad, I'm just vacuum sealing them up, and I'm just going to toss them in the freezer, and like, this is not the time to be wasting food. Okay? And because it's cheese, I mean, it's just going to get more and more, you know, some cheese age faster than others, right? You know? It's not a cheese that, you know, you can just sprinkle it into foods. Like, it's nice and clean inside. Can you see? Right? So, it's just been sitting down there doing nothing. I forgot about it. So, before I put it in the garden. I thought I'd try this first and try and cook with it. As you know, I'm clearing out stuff. I got my 2 little crock pots on the table right now, ready to go. I brought the blankets up to start washing soon. I've got 3 heads of cabbage, but I decided to do this first because, you know, waste not, want not, right? I don't know. And then 3 heads of cabbage. So we'll see what that gets me. Right? Yeah. I'm just rushing around. That's all. Right? There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 7. So 7 of those. And then I don't know what this is. This is some kind of yogurt thing. I don't know if it's good anymore. November. I don't need that. That's okay. Oh wait, here's more cheese. See, here's another one. The cheese is different, right? Because, you know, you can kind of cook with that and use it for flavoring. See, there, look, there's more blue cheese. I'm just going through this stuff right now. And then we've got these little things. There's a couple of these kicking around too. So I'm going through my fridge and I'm clearing out whatever. Right? It's either going in compost garden or wherever. Like this is some other kind of cheese. I don't know. So what you do is you look for mold. That's what you do. So, what is this? I don't even know what this is. I need my magnifying glass. Something's mixed in with it. Pepper or something. Oops. Smells like cream cheese. I just dropped a piece. There it is. Let's see. There's something in it. It's mild. I don't know. Doesn't really have a... Mix it in with a vegetable. Right? That's... What's this one? I don't know. Same kind of idea. Cream. Pasteurized cream. Pasteurized milk. Pasteurized cream. Modified milk. Best before January. It's okay. As long as there's no mold on it. It's been refrigerated. So how do you open this one? One time I had a Velveeta in my fridge for a year and a half. A Velveeta. It was still fine. We ate it. Yep. You know Velveeta cheese in the block. So it's another kind of brie because it has the same kind of coating on it. Right? It's just because they're older. It's called ripe. Right? So in a situation like that, you would use it more for flavoring because it's either that or dehydrate it. And they recommend not dehydrating soft cheeses. So I'm not going to... Here's another brie. Right, so that's 7 of those. Right. And then I've got this one that maybe I'll cook up some carrots or broccoli or something and melt it in, or I'll put it in a pan. Right, some of it, and with some butter and melt it down and add a little cream or a little milk, or I can use one of those canned milks, or, you know, that's just to kind of make it like a little more saucy. And because you're not using a lot, you're just getting that flavor, right? You're just wanting to, I don't know. If I don't like it, I can always give it to the raccoons, to the cats, or I can give it to the garden. Hold on a minute. Okay, so what I'm doing is really no different than, okay, right? Cheese, as long as it doesn't get mold, can sit for long time. They have cheese in the ocean 50 years, people. Okay? What happens is it ages in flavor. It just gets stronger, right? Usually that's what happens to it. Okay? Now, because this is old, I don't know how old, and I know it's been in the fridge for a while. I've got some downstairs that I bought a long time ago too. Anyway, since I'm doing this, I'm just going through my fridge and grabbing up miscellaneous things that, you know, oops, I'm doing the wrong thing here. Grabbing up miscellaneous, you know, either it's compost or it's going in the freezer when it comes to stuff like this. The blue cheese, I decided to pass on it. It was probably fine, but it said June. So, I don't know anything about blue cheese, so, you know, I wouldn't be able to tell if it was molding or not. And I don't eat it, so that one I'm definitely putting into the garden. Because, it, you know, the calcium, right, it will be fine. It will be fine in the garden. Worms like it. Just adds calcium. You just dig it into your ground, like anything else. I got to get into the rabbit hutch here and clear out the rabbit hutch and put that into the ground, right? So, and then we've got this stuff here. Okay. Now, cultured cashews, right? Excellent for cooking, baking, and spreading. It's obviously past its due date, but, you know, cashews that I bought can sit in a jar in the fridge for well over a year. Okay? I didn't put the black walnuts in the fridge, but I did jar up those cashews, and they're in the fridge with the other cashews. Right? So, now I had some of this. I think one of them I was using. See, this one is unopened. It's perfectly fine. Here's another one, unopened. So what I'm going to do, just for the sake of doing it, I'm broke now, people. I have to pay my rent. Remember, that's the first thing on the list, right? My rent. And then my bills. So, I And anything else after that isn't too much left over. Right? So, I am making every little bit count. Now, I am vacuum sealing this as is, unopened. These ones have not been opened. And I'm just going to throw them in the freezer with the rest of the stuff. You'll see after I'm done. There's a fair amount. Right? And then you'll know why I don't want to waste it. Now I left some of that goat brie out. I already had a bit of it. In little bites, it's okay. In big bites, too much, I don't like it. Because I'm not into really strong, sharp cheeses. But in little bites mixed in with something else, it will be good. So I'm either going to make a broccoli cheese and add a bit of that in, and I'm going to melt it, right? I'm going to cook it, heat it up. And I've got whipping cream, so I can make a nice cream with it, like a creamy type sauce, right? And then try that. And more than likely, as long as you don't overpower whatever it is you're doing, it will go well. It will probably taste pretty good, right? And then the rest, because I'm freezing, will just be used as I'm cooking. I've got a pasta machine up there, a couple of them. I told Andre, once this is all out, we're going to be using it, right? I'm going to teach him how to make, homemade pasta, different kinds, besides just rolling it with a rolling pin, right? We're going to use our pasta machine. And we could make little tortillas with that goat cheese, with hamburger, or pork, or chicken, or whatever. Vegetables, potatoes. You could mix it in with potato. That would be good. Right? Kind of like what us Ukrainians do. Right? I can see that happening. This one's a little bit too small. So I'm rushing. Rushing. All the time rushing. I'm having panic attacks today. I don't know why, but I am. Whoa. Because things aren't moving fast enough. I'm tired. I want to get it done with already. I want to move on to something else. I got to plant seeds. Right? Lucy was saying she bought some flower bulbs for her yard. And I bought some too. I don't normally do that. Where are they? Oh, jeez. I already lost them. Lucy. But they need to get in the ground. Right? Sometimes people come into my yard and they steal my flowers, people. They steal my bulbs. Yeah. Dig up shit. I had up over by the pond, over there in the corner, these daisy types that grew really tall. Different kind of daisy than the other ones I got out there. And somebody came and dug up all of them. Fucking ran off with them. People are rude, man. People are so rude. So anyway. So I'm just showing you. Okay? You need to get up into your fridge and double check everything. Alright, and before you throw it out, just stop and think. If you can use it somewhere else and mix it in with something else. As long as it's not moldy, you're fine. If it's sharp and taste, well, you can mix in other things with it. Right? Just freeze it until you're ready to use it. That's what I'm going to do. Like I said, I'm just going so you see that worked out pretty good. Right. And then I think I've already got one opened in the fridge. I don't know. I'll have to take a look at it. So I'm going to put this stuff in the bag. I still got this one to do. I'll just throw it in the freezer for now. Right, because I haven't been doing anything with it. I've been doing this stuff. Alright. I keep my dinners pretty generic. Every now and then I'll make some comfort food, but can't really get too fancy with things when you're always doing this stuff. But I'm almost done. Tisha got me some, what is that called? Lunch bags. Brown paper lunch bags. So now I can get on with finishing up that wheat. Yeah. So I'll be back. Hold on. So yeah, it's just for miscellaneous cooking projects. Now I think I've got some of those smaller little things or something in the freezer. Cream cheese is in the freezer. Anyway, I might go down eventually, and when I'm down there, maybe I'll vacuum seal. And look at this. Okay? I mean, you'd be stupid to throw it out. If it was moldy, then yeah, I could understand it. Just because it's aged doesn't mean you can't blend it into other foods. Right? So I've got this little piece I'm putting in the fridge, and I'm going to attempt to do something with it. I have to think what I want to do. Make like a little lasagna of some kind with macaroni and, you know, just, I don't know. I have to think about it. Okay. I'll be back. Hold on. Okay. Before I start this cabbage, right, you know, I watch these videos on YouTube with the quote-unquote food shortage. And this economic, what does he call himself? I'm going to put a link to this video in regards to this video that I'm doing. Epic economics. All right. He's talking about how countries that grow grain, like Hungary, are not exporting anymore. They're just keeping the wheat for themselves, the grains for themselves. Countries like Ukraine probably won't produce any grains, and they're at about, I think, 20 or almost 30% of the global market, right along with Russia. Right? So there's going to be a lot of I don't want to say developing countries, but, you know, countries that don't necessarily grow grains are going to go into probably starvation, famine, more so than what they're facing right now and have been facing. Canada, we grow grain, but we also export to China. And it was recent, too, like in November, when they had that energy weapon zap the dumb tunnels. Because you know we got a lot of that out here, people. Okay? There are no white hats. Okay? Just a lot of those things breeding in their nests. Anyway, by the grace of God, somebody flooded their tunnels. But through the flooding of those tunnels, they also wiped out a lot of farmland and infrastructure. And through that process, a lot of grain that was stored for the animals in certain parts of the province got washed away, right? So the provincial government, they had to put a hold on a tanker that was full of grain that was being shipped to China, and this was in November of 2021, because they needed the grain for emergency purposes to feed the animals that were displaced through that flooding. Right? So whether we continue to ship our grain out to China and places like that, right, remains to be seen, because you have to remember the province of British Columbia, Canada, is almost like an arm of China, okay? Like, we've got Chinese gangsters here embedded so deep in this province that, you know, you can't even fathom how deep it is, okay? We've got illegal organ harvesting and body snatching out here in the province of British Columbia, Canada. My family is testament to that. We've got snuff movies, right, you know, on the black market, bringing in billions of dollars, right? To which I'm sure a lot of Chinese are involved in that. We have the LNG line, you know, doing, what is it, liquid gas or something, that's all being shipped to China, right? Everything's being shipped to China. Why? Why, people? Why? Okay. We had something like, well, we have something like 5,000 Chinese workers up in the, I'm pretty sure it's 5,000 or more. They're not all Chinese, but a lot of them are, that come from China, up in the Kitimat area working on the LNG, right? I'm pretty sure I got that number correct. We had the Chinese soldiers out here somewhere in the interior doing their practice artillery runs, okay? Like what I'm saying, right? British Columbia, Canada is like the second home to corporate China, right? We have billions and billions and billions, something over $8 billion a year being funneled through the housing market, through the laundering of money, people. With a lot of that being Chinese individuals. That house that sits down there empty year after year, they have, you know what, it's been empty for so long that this new owner that bought it last year hasn't even bothered to take down the for sale sign. It's almost like it's a slap in the face in the neighborhood, because technically you're not supposed to buy a house and leave it empty. There's a legislation in there somewhere written to prevent that from happening, but it's happening. Even my landlady pointed it out to me. Well, why is that for sale sign still saying sold? I said, well, that's because that house always sits empty. It's been like that forever since I moved in. That house is just used as a pawn to up the value of the property, because that's how they make their money out here, people. That's how homeowners and property owners, they launder the money through that, right? And it just keeps going up higher and higher and higher and higher. That building that they tore down 100 walnut trees over there, I walked to the store about 2 weeks ago. It wasn't even 2 weeks ago, people. That building has been done for like 6 months. 6 months, okay? You would think that somebody was living inside that building. I walked by in the evening. It was like 9 o'clock, okay? Now, yeah, sure, there's supposed to be for 55 and over, but not every 55-year-old is in bed sleeping like a baby at 9 o'clock at night. You would think that you would see one light in one window. Not even one light was on, people. Not even one light through that whole building over there. Now, mind you, they're having a problem with water accumulating in their basement, so when the heavy rains come, apparently they sump pump it out so that it all goes into my neighbor's shed and into her backyard and uproots her trees as it pulls and comes this way and floods my garage more so than it's ever been flooded. Okay, because they're sump pumping out whatever is going on in that building over there that has yet to be fucking rented out. But yet they tore down 100 trees, right, up and down the alley with their big ass trucks, right? Not to mention the ones still going back and forth in the front, right? And the building's sitting fucking empty. That was a Chinese owner over there, people. Okay, that was a company that from freaking China. All right. So, you know, I could see the provincial government sending all our wheat to fucking China. Because whatever is running the government right now in British Columbia, Canada, is not fucking normal. Period. Point blank. Okay? There's something wrong with them. They've either been replaced, they've been knocked off and recreated like a clone, or they've just been fucking knocked off, and what we're looking at on the internet is nothing more but holograms. And when they do put them out in the community, they're probably a freaking robotoid. Or a hybrid. chimera hybrid of slash human something else that feeds on fucking humans. Okay? That's what British Columbia, Canada is about. So, you know, for this big rain that came and washed everything away, I hope it got into the freaking underground tunnels where they're trafficking children and doing God knows what they're fucking doing down there and flooded them out. Because there is definitely something wrong in British Columbia, Canada, in terms of the corruption and just the morbid shit that goes on out here. And how they prey on the most vulnerable. So anyway, I'm listening to this, right? And like, you know, we know I'm coming to the end of my, whatever I've been doing. I'm exhausted. Like in terms of like the wheat and the barleys and all that stuff, okay? And like, will it be enough? Who knows, people? Who knows? Because, you know, something else is going on that you know, it's, I don't want to say it's beyond the Bible in terms of, you know, revelations, but I don't know, I don't know, I guess people just don't know how to fight back against the evil part of what we're up against. You know, like the quality of living has deteriorated so much that it kind of makes you ask yourself why you're living. Right? You know what I mean? Especially when it's that simple. Poof, you're gone and nothing moves except you. Right? You know, at the end of the day, whatever stress that you're going through, sooner or later, you're just going to go poof. Like spontaneous combustion. Remember that? Whatever happened to people spontaneously combustionating like they used to in the good old days? Right? You used to hear about it, but I haven't heard about anybody spontaneously combusting for years and years and years and years and years. But that's kind of like what death is about. One day you're here, next day you're gone. Nothing moves except you. And whatever fucking stress that you were going through or you think you were going through, it's gone. You don't have it anymore. I don't know where people go when they die. I just know that whatever you left behind stays, and that's it, you know? So I don't know, people. Like, I think I'm going to go to the food bank. I think I'm going to register with the food bank. I haven't been to the food bank. Oh my God. I got Amari when he was 7 months old. I was already registered with the food bank. I went like 3 or 4 times, and then I just stopped going because didn't really need to go, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, I appreciated what was given to me, but at the end of the day, I just never really went back. But in light of what's been going on, people, I figure, well, if the Syrians can go next door, because they go, right? You know what I'm saying? Oh, why can't I? Right? It's not like I'm getting food from Pastor Granny's daughter, so, you know, that, right? My neighbor hasn't, whatever was going on with them is slowed down, right? And I don't expect anything from them. So, you know, a can of beans here, like pork and beans, Amari likes that. Beans with molasses, Heinz beans, you know, right? You know, because basically this year now, you know, like I got a gas bill of like 500 and, serious. I got to come up with $400 on my gas bill by the end of the month, not to mention I'm over on my overdraft about $500, and then I'm overdrawn on my MasterCard because of what our governments have been doing. Because I topped off with that wheat and whatever. I didn't pay as much on bills as I should have. I didn't pay Commerce this month, although I did tell whoever I was talking on the phone that, you know, CIBC Bank is, you know, even after all these years since Uncle John's been medically kidnapped, they're still extorting me. Extortion, right, is a form of extortion to be, you know, expecting a poor person to take on the debt load when that debt load wasn't accumulated by myself based on what the bank did. Because if the bank wouldn't have done what they did, that bill would have been paid for by now. But you see, none of us expected Uncle John to inherit money. So the bank got greedy and went with the bigger fish versus staying with the fish that was with them for 25 years. So I said, I think I'm going to write the CEO of CIBC Bank in fucking Toronto. They told me to take it to the client complaint department. I said, no, that's a waste of time. I already got that written into my lawsuit with Uncle John, right? You know, no. Oh, take it to the ombudsman of CIBC Bank. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll send a copy to the ombudsman as I send whatever I'm going to write to the actual head of Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce to let them know how they, after all these years, what, 6, 7 years, pushing on 7 years now, they're still charging me almost $200 a month in fucking interest. So I have to do a double payment just to make up for what I didn't pay this month because of what our government's doing, because I'm too busy buying fucking wheat as I'm finding out that there's going to be a wheat shortage as my province is sending wheat to freaking China. As the Chinese are buying up the houses and leaving them fucking empty, literally empty, year after year after year after year, flipping them like freaking pancakes so they can increase the property value, tear down all the trees, build their fucking buildings that flood out the fucking neighborhood and makes everybody's houses start rocking and shaking so those places can sit freaking empty. Okay? Empty fucking suites over there, empty fucking house over there. It's all Chinese related, people. Right? I'm not saying Punjabis aren't involved in there somewhere along the way because they're profiteering from it as well, right? Because it's, you know, the property value goes up because of what the Chinese are doing or the Punjabis. So, you know, they make more money, right? So in the meantime, my gas bill is $578. Because what happened was, in the month of January, with all the snow and everything, I guess they couldn't read my meter. So, you know, in my head, I'm thinking my bill is low. And I'm like, wow, gee, you know, what, gas has been doing pretty good. Well, they double billed me. So, you know, I'm like, well, there's all my money gone between commerce, gas, hydro, rent, MasterCard. Just those. You're looking at, oh God, that's it. There's nothing left. So I think I'm going to register with the food bank for a while and go check it out. Yeah. I'll go every 2 weeks for a little while. Right? You know, because who knows? Who knows? Their governments are not thinking about poor people. Hell no. Hell no. And you have to remember, people, if I falter, fall flat on my face, can't get back up no more. Can't get back up no more. Right? I'm a broken human being. Okay? You know, I'm not sure where Amari's going to go. But if he was to go into foster care, people, if he was, whoever would be watching him, first of all, wouldn't love him like we do. Okay? But they're going to get over $3,000 a month. Okay? They're going to get over $3,000 a month because of his disabilities. So for people that depend on that kind of stuff to supplement their household incomes, they're not my friends, people. Okay, they're not going to try and help me to get back up so that I can continue doing what I do. Instead, they're going to try and find a way to capitalize off of that situation for themselves and then make their little backroom deals so that if Murray dies, you know, it's just a receptacle for organ harvesting. And because he was disabled, nobody's going to investigate how he died, people. They're just going to say it was just meant to be, right? That's how crooked this province is, okay? I'm just saying. So, I don't know if going to the food bank will help me there. Right? Fuck, I can't even get my fucking lights fixed. A leaky sink. Shit like that. Like, I haven't turned off this computer for 3 days. Right? It's been running and running and running. I go on to BitChute. I put on a video. I turn off the volume and I go to sleep. Because on BitChute, it will just go to another video and another video and another video. So when I get up, it's just on another video. And the computer doesn't go into hibernation or go to sleep or whatever, because it's a hassle trying to get it to work correctly. So, you know, like I'm saying, my government, do you think my government cares about shit like that? Hell no. Nope. Nope, they're on a different mission, people. They're digging out their fucking tunnels and clearing them out so they can start all over again with whatever it is that they ship in their shipping containers. Because I honestly do believe that they traffic human beings through the ports out here. I do. I do believe that they create things in labs out in the bush somewhere that nobody's really paying attention. Yeah. And they're in partnership with China. And other countries, you know, other, like I say, they import these doctors from God knows where, and then they come into our healthcare system, and because it's all being paid for by tax dollars, you know, it's all written off. It doesn't cost them anything to take out organs and teeth and harvest eggs and take what they want and then fucking stretch out the skin and, you know, make it prime for something else. You know, it doesn't cost them anything to do any of that, people. It's all free. It's free because the taxpayers pay it because of our type of healthcare system that we have, and we don't have those checks and balances out here. And that's why we've got empty houses that sit for 10 fucking years empty or sold 1 to 4 times a year, depending on, right, what's going on, I suppose, and it's still empty. And now they're so brazen that they don't even take the freaking for sale sign down that has the word sold on it. Because they know nothing will stop them from doing that, even though it's illegal. As that building sits fucking empty. I'll walk by again. I'll record and see if anyone's moved in yet. And if nobody's moved in, why, people? Why? Why has nobody moved into that building? That place was supposed to be sold before they built it in terms of suite after suite after suite. Where are all these investors buying suites and not moving in? I don't know. I think there's 133 suites there and not one had a light on. Think about it. And that was only 2-3 weeks ago. And that thing has been built for like 6 fucking months. Because the majority are probably from China and places like that. As our government is shipping off wheat to them. So yeah, for someone like me that has nothing, and now I'm, you know, with that high debt load because I'm being held hostage to corruption through the banking system and the healthcare system and all those other fucking systems that so-called professionals profess that they're trying to help with. To hell with it. I'm going to the food bank. If anything, it will be for mental therapy. Right? That's what I used to go for. It was just kind of fun. It was a way to take the kids out and go for a walk. Right. So anyway, now I'm going to get on to Cabbage. And I'm going to link this video into this video in my description box. Because going into Auntie Shimei's room, I don't know, looking at the wheat that I bought last year, in 2020. You know. And then in 2021, and just everything, I don't know if it's going to make much of a difference. It will for a while, but if our governments are like hell-bent on starving out X amount of people based on classism, I'm not even going to put it on race, excuse me, but based on classism, just remember, sooner or later, it's just going to be poof, and you're gone, and nothing will move except you. So while you're here, just kind of pace yourself through it. Okay? Do the best you can, even if you're working in disco-like conditions. Can you believe this? I went through half a day with no lights in the kitchen to the point where I had to turn them on, right? And they're flashing in there right now. I'm sure it's not helping my eyes, but what are you going to do, people? All right? I'm on a schedule. I have to, you know, just keep pushing forward. So, Okay, I'll be back and get on with this cabbage. Okay, I've been kind of procrastinating here. That's what I mean. Poof, one day you hear, and next day you're gone. Like, well, not even the next day. It's like within minutes. Poof, you're gone. Nothing moves except you. So while you're here, you just got to keep moving, okay? Even if it seems pointless, right? So the point of fermenting cabbage and then attempting to can it is in light of what's going on, okay? Because vitamin C plays a vital role in keeping people healthy. And when you're going into famine, okay, you know, you're coming into less contact with foods with vitamin C. So one way to ward off scurvy, which leads into a lot of bodily ailments, right, is to eat fermented cabbage. Because by fermenting it, it increases the vitamin C content. Now, I Googled it. You can Google it for yourself because I want to be able to give you the right information, right? And this is why I recommend it, unless, of course, you're rolling in the dough. If you're rolling in the dough and you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff in terms of being able to afford whatever it is that you would think you're going to be able to find when it comes time to go buy it, then so be it, you know. It is what it is. But if you're in a situation where you're kind of nervous and, you know, and you're just not too sure what's going to happen over the next 1 to, we'll just say 3 years, being that, you know, there's some depopulation agenda going on right now, and, you know, we're being attacked from multiple vectors. I wouldn't even call them sectors, just multiple vectors, you know. You need to back up that vitamin C in surety. Oh boy. Orange peels is one of them. Okay? Because you can dehydrate those with sugar after the fact of cooking them for a bit, draining it, you know, depending on what you want to do. And then just jar them up and they'll last forever, okay? And the rind itself will have vitamin C in it, okay? You can taste it. And sauerkraut, fermented, right? And you can go the extra measure and you can can it. So that's why I'm encouraging people to do it. Because we don't know where we're going to be in a year from now. Okay? If there's fresh cabbage in a year from now, so be it. You're not losing anything. But if there isn't, you got that backup, knowing that it's full of vitamin C. Okay. So it's 5 pounds of cabbage to 3 tablespoons of salt. Now I dug underneath my cupboard there, and I got some Himalayan salt, so I'm going to use that. And I've got 3 heads of cabbage out right now. I've got more than 3. I'm going to see if I have to weigh them, right? I brought the 2 crock pots out. I'm going to work fast because I'm still here. I haven't poofed. I haven't disappeared yet. So I want to make sure that when I poof and I disappear, this is behind me. I've left this behind for my family, okay? I'm hoping to be able to enjoy it at some point, but, you know, I work pretty hard, people. And sometimes I get really, really, really discouraged. And, you know, that would be the easy route out, honest to God. Like, you know, I mean, with so much death around me, you know, I am like, you know, Shemay, I wish you were here to help me with Mari, right? You know what I'm saying? And, like, she would love to be involved with Mari, you know? Like, I'd have a really good relationship with her, helping her to raise Amari versus me basically having to do it all by myself with so many hurdles in front of me, like flashing lights with my eyes going bad, but I still plug along, okay? And that's what you need to do too, even if you're feeling discouraged. because I don't know what you're listening to when you come across information that we're going into a global food shortage because of all these different reasons. You need to take it serious. Okay, this is what I'm trying to tell you. You need to take it serious. Even if you don't want to, you have to, okay? Fermenting cabbage is one way to take it serious because that's your little backup in vitamin C. So it's 5 pounds of cabbage to every 3 tablespoons of salt with no iodine or caking, anti-caking material in it, okay? Try to avoid using a food processor because, you know, it's just, it can make the cabbage more wilty versus cutting it with the knife, even though it might take a little longer to cut it by hand. It's just, it's like lettuce. You don't really want to cut lettuce with knives because once you bring the metal to the lettuce, it kind of starts to wilt the lettuce. It's better to rip the lettuce by hand and put it in the bowl, and then it stays more fresher, okay? Well, it's the same concept. If you're running cabbage through a food processor, for whatever reason, it changes the molecule structure of the cabbage. So some people have suggested it's just better to cut it with a knife. So I'm choosing to cut mine with a knife. I'm going to weigh them. Start with 3 cabbages first. And then once you cut them, you sprinkle your salt in there. Now there's 2 ways of doing it. You've seen me with that little pounder. So I'm going to pound a little bit. You can squeeze if you want. Well, there's 3 ways. You can pound it with something, or you can squeeze it, right? Or you can just mix it all around, cover the bowl up, and let it sit. And just, you know, the salt will eventually draw out the liquid, okay? So I'm going to do a little bit of both, okay? And then once you get enough, once, you know, after about a half an hour or whatever it is, you've got liquid now, right? You push your cabbage into your container, pour your liquid in. You need at least an inch or more of liquid over the cabbage, right? And if you need to, you can 1 liter of boiled water to, oh, I don't know what the ratio is in terms of the salt. I have to double check that one. Might be just 1 tablespoon. Okay, I'm not sure. I'll have to double check. If you need to top off the liquid a little bit, right? Because you got to make sure everything's down. And with the Ohio crockware, got a little recipe here. Everything is just kind of on the fly. See, 1 large head of green cabbage, 1 tablespoon of good quality salt. Well, I'm doing something off the internet here because I want to can this stuff, right? So I'm taking a recipe off the internet. I provide the link because this particular recipe, you can end up taking it to a water bath and can it in jars. Right? And then here it says only 5 to 7 days of fermentation, 7 to 8 days, before moving it to a cooler location where you have a constant temperature. Daily remove the lid and skim off any excess foam, scum. Taste daily so you will know when it is done to your taste. The one on the internet says ferment for 5 to 7 weeks. This one says 7 to 8 days. I don't know if there's a difference in terms of 5 to 7 weeks, and you have to be careful where you put it. Like if I was to put these things into my bedroom is very cold and it probably wouldn't ferment. Whereas the ambient temperature in the house, if you notice, I'm always wearing sweaters and double, like this is double shirt, you know, come evening I'm putting on a sweater, you know, whatever, right? So I'll probably just end up leaving mine on the table, whether it's from 7 to 8 days or 5 to 7 weeks, right? Like is the fermenting 5 to 7 weeks better for canning? I don't know. I just know that you can can fermented cabbage because of the type of vegetable that it is. Okay? So anyway, we're going to get started on this. Like you can't can each and every vegetable that you ferment. As far as I can tell. Okay? As far as I can tell. So don't think that you can do that unless you know absolutely for sure that you can do that. Because sometimes it's better just to ferment it after it's fermented, re-jar it into sterilized jars, and put it off into a cool area or in a fridge, and chances are it will sit for years and years, okay? As long as there's no mold on top, right? Okay, where canning is kind of different, right? You're sealing the jar and, I don't know. Anyway, like I said, I'm trying to get motivated here. I'm trying not to drop the ball. Yeah, for all this doom and gloom, and for all this nonsense that goes on in this province, I'm trying not to drop the ball. I'm trying to stay positive. I brought up those blankets. I'm going to start washing them tonight for the bunker. And when I'm back downstairs and clear out a few more things, then we'll do a bunker video. Well, this is my little bunker now. What do you think I should do? And we'll do some survival cooking with those crock pots. Okay, if something happens and shit hits the fan and the internet goes down and you don't know this, I'm just gonna let you know right now, okay? Beans, kidney beans especially, right? They're toxic, okay? Don't ever eat them raw. And when you start to cook them, you have to boil them. Literally, you have to boil them for at least 10 minutes. It is not recommended to put kidney beans and those types of beans into a crock pot and start cooking them on low. Even though you think you're cooking them for, an 8-hour shift on low, you still kind of need to bring them up to a boil, and you have to boil them for at least 10 minutes to boil off that toxicity that's poisonous for human beings, okay? So, internet goes down, there's a shortage on hydro, but you got a cast iron pot with a nice lid on it, okay? But you're limited on resources when it comes to cooking in it. So this is what you do. You put your beans in there. You got to boil it for at least 10 minutes. So bring it to a boil. Let it boil for 10 minutes. And then that's when you can turn it down. Or better yet, you can actually turn it off because your cast iron has gathered up all that heat, right, with the lid and everything. And you take it and you can put it in a basket that's blanketed, okay, blanketed, right? And you cover it up with the blanket and you let it sit like that for a few hours and it will cook your beans. But you have to boil it for the first 10 minutes. Just remember that, okay? Kidney beans and those types of beans. I don't know if it's every bean, like a mung bean you wouldn't have to, I don't think, but definitely any kind of kidney bean, okay? So we're going to do little videos like that, just in light of the sign of the times, okay? And here's something else I just read recently, because we've got a lot of people coming into the game now prepping, and they're asking questions like, well, how should I buy, and, how should I store, and what should I do, and how much do I need, and blah, 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 blah. So they're, they're coming in with all this different information. And anyways, I gave some advice to one person that was asking about pasta and stuff like this, and another person came in and they typed out a little, and this is actually good to know too. Same scenario, okay? Shit hits the fan, you're down to limited resources, Now, the thing about rice is, white rice, you normally have to rinse it. But I guess with pasta, right? You bring your water to a boil, you have your pasta in there, you can actually turn off the heat, especially, you know, using some sort of a cast iron pot of some kind, or you know, I don't know what that red pot that I have, but you know, the real heavy ones that retain the heat, right? Boil your water, put your pasta in there, and then you can actually turn off the heat, right? And it will cook on its own without taking the lid off. And you don't have to rinse it, nothing. Okay, you can, right? So you don't have to boil for 20 minutes, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, you only need to bring it to a boil, put your pasta in there, turn off the stove or whatever, blow out the fire, whatever it is, right? And just put your lid on, and over a period of time, that pasta is going to cook with or without heat, okay, because of the type of pot that you're using. So if you don't have a good heavy-duty cast iron type pot, that's something that you need to get ASAP. Okay? Because you can do a lot with it, right? In terms of cooking your meal without having a lot of heat. Okay? Those are the kind of videos that, you know, like with the rocket stove, right? You got to bring a little bit of fun into your life, right? Because sooner or later, like I asked myself, well, how long do you think you're going to live for as hard as you work? My oldest son calls me, oh, and I'm like, I'm busy. Don't you understand? I'm all the time, I tell him I'm busy. You don't understand. Like, I work harder than I've ever worked in all my life, and trust me, I've been a hard worker, okay? For whatever reason, I don't know why, you know, but it just is, you know. Looking after Amari, a lot of laundry accumulates, and I mean, obviously I created work for myself with this food prep, but this part of the bulk of it is almost done. After I do cabbage, I take a day or two off after I get it fermented. You know, I've got the paper bags now to start bagging up the wheat, the rife wheat that just came in. I've got, a different kind of wheat downstairs in a box that needs to be bagged up. I got a few other things that need to be bagged up, right? So I still got to kind of pick away at that. But over the next, I don't know, 2 to 5 days, maybe 2 to 5 days, I'm going to get into that butter. I'm going to make ghee somehow, some way. I've never done it. And I'm even going to attempt just to can the butter. I don't know. I'll just look on YouTube and Google it. So we'll be doing a video on that. And then after that, it's just that pork fat. As for this cheese that I just went through, you know, reading on the internet, right? Because, you know, it was past its due date, and now I ate some. So if I'm not here in a week from now, we know what happened, okay? If it was real bad, you know, right? The first bite, the first slice I had, it wasn't so bad. The second one, I only ate half of it, and then it was very strong. So I would use it very sparingly in terms of mixing it in with other foods. I couldn't justify throwing it out in terms of, like, it wasn't moldy, right? The blue cheese that I have there is probably fine, but I don't really know much about blue cheese any more than I know really about brie, but it can go in the dirt. You just mix it in with the hay and everything else, and it just adds calcium, right? And then, you know, depending on what's going on, that other cheese that I threw in the freezer, those little round ones, you know, you can make little dumplings mixed in with something else, or make sauces with them, right? And if it's really to the point where you just don't like it, then that's when I'd say, ah, to hell with it. I'm just going to put it all in the dirt, right? Just dig it into the dirt, give it to the worms. But other than that, like, no, this is not a time to be wasteful. Unless, of course, you've got lots of money and you enjoy going around hurting other people. And you just want them off the planet, right? And unfortunately, we got a lot of people like that in the world. So yeah, I've decided I think I'm going to go mosey on down to the food bank and see what's going on. See how long the lines are. see what they're giving the people, right? See if there's anything in there that I want. I want pork and beans in a can, that's for sure, because Amari really, really likes those. And they're handy, right? And a few fresh vegetables here and now and then would be nice, you know, considering all things said, right? Well, I guess I better get on with this cabbage. Right? I'm still here. Right? I haven't gone poof, I'm gone yet, right? Notice how that's on my mind. Right? Okay, so here we go. That's the first one. Pour it out a little bit, right? You're going to have to end up taking off a bit more. Do you know how lucky I am to have this? This is Ohio stoneware. Like, so lucky. Okay, they don't ship this stuff out to Canada. It comes from Texas, trust me. Right? But I got it through just Good To Go Co., right? And they managed to get, and a lot of the things that came in were broken and busted up, but for whatever reason mine wasn't. But I just unwrapped these. This one's fine, but this one was a little chipped. But I think I can order again those. I don't know. I'll see what I can do. But in the meantime, I'm so happy to have this. This is nice and solid. So I've got this little weight scale here on pounds. And we're going to do 5 pounds to 3 tablespoons of salt. So that's 4 pounds and 1.8. So I'll write that down. But then if I take out a little, if I take out a little of the core, it's hard to say, right? Hold on. Okay, so really close to 5 pounds. Same thing here, close to 5 pounds. Okay? 3 tablespoons. So I'm going to start sprinkling in here and moving it around with my hand. Okay? Obviously, this is going to shrink down as the water comes out of the cabbage, okay? I haven't cut this one up yet, and I'm going to get this shrinking, and as this is shrinking, I'm going to add more in, okay? And then this is about 2 and, I don't know, a little over a half of cabbage. So 2 whole cabbage and 3/4 of a cabbage between the 2 of them, okay? And then we're going to see what goes on from there. And then if it shrinks down to here, then I'll add in more, right? After the fact. We'll just see. Because you want to leave yourself an inch or so above the rim. Okay? So I'll have to double check that. At least an inch. You can see, right? You don't want whatever you're fermenting to go past probably this, which is about 1.5 inches. Okay? And the same thing would apply to here as well. Hold on. Okay, I really like using this because this thing was full. But as I'm moving everything around, you can see what's happened. Now there's 5 pounds of cabbage in there and it's dropping. So we're going to top this off, okay? Right? Before we fill up this one, we're going to top off this one and make it nice. This is in this bowl, which is nearly not big enough for 5 pounds, but that's 5 pounds there too. I just am having a hard time getting my hands in there, okay? Now this salt, what I'm noticing is the crystals are a little bigger versus fine grain, okay? How much of that is going to make a difference, I don't know. It's kind of already starting to taste salty, so I may add in another 1/4 teaspoon up to a half a teaspoon after I'm all said and done. Okay, just to compensate for the size of the grain. Okay, I didn't weigh it out. Okay, so that's where we're at right now. So hold on. Okay, so where am I? I like that crock pot.
No, I totally agree with you. I don't know how I saw the...
You don't want to put this in a metal bowl.
Right, that's when we started the murder.
No, I don't think so. I have a big metal bowl.
Saying they're not humans,
I wouldn't do that. It's just going to take a little longer in this glass bowl. Right? It's because I'm working in 5 pounds. I need a food grade 5-pound bucket. So that's on my shopping list now, just for stuff like this. A nice heavy duty one. Right? And I wouldn't mind, I don't know how I'm going to get another crock like this. It's almost like I have to contact the company in Texas and plead with them. Yeah. I might do that. Right? But they're having problems. Vets make them. It's a family-owned business, and a lot of vets, they make this stuff, right? With everything going on in the world, they were having problems just with shipping everything. So I'm really lucky to have this. I'll tell you, I really like it. I couldn't do this in this other one. No. Right. So you kind of have to move it around and move the salt around and get it working before you know, it starts leaching the liquid, right? So I might get 2 heads of cabbage in this 2-gallon crock, which would be great. I still have a couple more cabbages outside, so I'll be doing this for a couple of hours. Right.
Surrounding the country to try to infiltrate them.
Listening to
and things of that nature. And I do believe
callers on Alex Jones. No, I listen to a lot of different people. And everybody's talking about mass starvation. Up to maybe even 1 billion people or more. I mean, you have to ask yourself, what kind of government does this? Right? How is it they absolve themselves from any type of responsibility?
Helping Ukraine, we're going to pay for that. I'm going to say something that you won't say because you have a big target on your back, but I'm not afraid to say it. This country will, I believe, I pray to God that it won't happen, but I believe that we will get hit with a nuke.
There you go.
I had a dream years ago, way before this happened, that the lower part of Georgia got hit with a nuke. It came from the east. We will pay for what we've done, especially with all the...
Javon, I've got Joel Skousen coming up, but after he leaves, I'm going to go back to calls. You can hold up.
People are worried.
I appreciate your call. We'll go to
right? And they have a right to be worried. Hell, I'm worried. I'm trying to figure out how I can shelter in place at 60 years old. As my government's acting like there's nothing wrong. And it's business as usual. Their business, though. Not everybody else's business, just whatever agenda they're on. Yeah. So shady. Everything is so bad. Everything is so shady. Kind of makes you wonder where you go when your time comes. Poof, you're gone and nothing moves except you. Kind of makes you wonder where you're going to go. Alright. Doing it in this bowl is hard.
I'm going to go back to your calls, and then at the bottom of the hour, I'm going to recap and break some of the new news that's coming out. But it is just wild.
Yeah.
Before I go back,
I suppose this is just a long last video now, isn't it? Huh? Probably. My oldest son has been calling me and I'm trying to tell him I'm busy.
into what could make us a
Right.
co-belligerent
All gooey
in the
hands.
war in Ukraine. Moscow will
And he
not
wants
take
to
this
talk.
lightly. So Poland's saying
I tell him, like, don't talk that much. I hardly even talk to Marcane.
Spokesperson,
Right.
Kirby,
Always busy.
up there talking about, well, yeah, I mean, we're looking at getting the A-10s out, going over to tell all the Russians. I mean, this is real, folks.
I don't want to mix the two until they're pretty much mixed up well between themselves in their own bowls. The salt is distributed.
That's really going to cut in on the green and blue and
pretty much evenly.
Because
I don't know. There we go. That's dropping down. And now we go to this one. See, once it starts getting to a point, oh yeah, I really like this crock. Oh man, doesn't move, people. He's sturdy. Yeah. Nice. I want another one. A little bigger. Maybe I can write the company and show them a picture of my chip thing here. And I'll say, please, 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 let me order a new one. I'll pay for it. And since you're shipping that out to me, maybe you can ship me out another crock pot. See, now there's liquid on the bottom. So, I can probably get 10 pounds of cabbage in this 2-gallon crock by the time I'm done doing this. Right. Which would be great. Now some of these pieces are really big. Right. It's kind of like the core. Never get tired of going and visiting our neighbors, petting our kitty cats and dogs. Never get tired of just being normal, good people. You're not mentally ill. You're not satanic. You're fallen. You're not perfect, but you're not given over to it. And you keep projecting your goodness onto these leftists and onto these people, and thinking they can be convinced or gotten out of it. They can't. It's wrong. Put the pictures back up and we'll go to calls for TV viewers. Of Antifa arrestees and what they look like with their mask off. No wonder they want to cover their faces. And then show the images of people. I just slicing some of these a little thinner, the thicker ones. Who took the shot and are showing off they took it. Look at these people. These are the servants of Satan. Right. Almost every one of them on methamphetamine. Almost every one of them. We got a lot of that in British Columbia, Canada. That's what destroyed Sierra. She was targeted, people. Targeted in the school system. Because she had a learning disability. Yeah. I don't know. We don't live in a very good world. One thing, access to your children. So they can get them when they're young and brainwash them and turn them over to their lifestyle and their system. And ladies and gentlemen, so yeah, when you're in there digging around, moving things, keep a steadfast eye on this. You come across a little thicker piece, just slice it a little thinner, throw it back in there. It'll be all right. Right. It's very sad. And it's the thing that's wounded me more than anything. Some of them are thick, eh? That my other children, because they're the stem. Like movie stars or you know, Rex, we had dark hair, was like 22. And then one beautiful child of mine, put them back on screen, looks like that. And then just go back and forth between the two containers. I'm not adding the extra salt in until after I'm done doing this. Then I'll add in a little bit more, either a quarter teaspoon or a half a teaspoon. That's not that salty, so.
still.
Definitely a quarter teaspoon.
And I don't feel sorry for myself. I asked for this,
Right.
but I can tell you that I should have gotten that less than years ago. But my infrastructure's here.
So
my
get
food's
yourself a
here,
good bucket.
and I stayed here.
A nice 5-pound bucket if you're going to do anything in bulk.
This was going to happen a couple years ago if I
Right.
didn't get out of here. I mean, God told me, your children aren't
That
safe
would be a
in
good thing to
town.
have.
In a small town.
Food grade
Get in
bucket.
real Christian, or you're gonna lose your children. And it's already started.
Because
can't
then
let
you
it
could
pass
do
on. You can't be part
a
of
lot.
the system and live around it and be protected from it. It will get you.
See? Just slice it up a little bit.
These people are just such sad victims. So caught up in a lie. And there's been a lot of other stuff, and I know you're all going through it as well. My God, I had friends and family die.
Everybody's going through something.
Made and launched. Almost killed my dad. There's all the reports out of the long-term brain damage it causes.
None of us know what's happening,
Get into the brain.
except for the ones that are
It's terrible.
in bed with the devil.
My brain is in there growing.
They know.
Medicated and basically knocked it out.
But not all of them are real, so they don't
A
care.
lot of people aren't the same.
Right.
After the new order launched their attack.
Like Dr. God, Dr. Death with her bulging neck.
You know,
Definitely
we're
something wrong with that
leaders.
individual.
We're limps, so we dust ourselves off and get run over.
And that wasn't a computer glitch.
But you don't want to just keep
That was done on purpose.
doing your job. Spend half your time, folks, fighting
Most
the new order
definitely.
and serving it. Because if you think the last 2 years of death and murder and dumbing down and psychic poison and spiritual poison and demonic attack, if you think you've seen the full attack, you have seen nothing. Like a poison cup that we're going to be forced to drink, like that last caller said. The lady. Forget her name now. That cup.
Okay. So I'm going to be doing this for a little while yet.
65 million dead babies.
Okay, so I'm going to leave the link that I'm using online for this particular sauerkraut. I'm doing it this way because this one you can okay? I don't know if it's any different with any other sauerkraut, but for now we're doing this. It says leave 4 to 5 inches from your food to the rim. That's about 4 inches, pushing on 5, not quite. I haven't used this one yet, so this is another 5 pounds or so, just a little less than 5 pounds. It was recommended that you just let it sit for, like I'll put these on after, right? I'm still going to take that stick thing and push it down just a bit more. I've been using my hands in between, okay? And then leave it for 24 hours to see if the water rises. And if not, then you're going to have to add more brine. Okay, but that's tomorrow if we need it. This one is still releasing juices. And then once it's released enough, then I'm going to put it in here and it will see how much it fills up. And then I'm going to make another batch and try and get between the two of them, and then that will be it. And I've got another 5 more pounds of cabbage or so that I've got more than 5 pounds. But I'll do another 5 more pounds in this bowl after I get this in here, and then I'll top off this, and if there's a little left over, I'll just top it off in there, because this is still gonna shrink a bit more yet, I would think, right? So hold on. Oh, and this is for 3 to 4 weeks. I don't know how I got 5 to 7 weeks. Maybe I was reading a different recipe, I don't know. So hold on. Okay, so now I'm listening to another fella.
For a gallon of gas is $4.17.
Like, these are grown men.
The average, the California average, $5.44.
Canadian prepper, grown man.
And what I find hard to believe is
who is
that the
this?
markets could even be in the green for a second today when we are looking at gas prices and oil prices at record high. $125 roughly now for a barrel of oil, and the highest national gas average we have ever seen. How in the world could the markets even be in the green whatsoever? And we look at the shortages now in food, the shortages we're going to see in titanium, the shortages we're seeing in chips, the shortages
Jeremiah,
we're
babe.
seeing right now
Hey, babe.
because of these sanctions. And now the talk that we may sanction China, what kind of effect could that have on America? What kind of blowback could that have on America?
Gas
And
in
yet
California
markets
in some
really
places
try
is
to ignore it.
$7 a
Could,
gallon,
by the end of the
people.
day, they turn red. Russia
The
will have
national
$300
average is
a
over
barrel
$4,
threatens to cut off
with a
European
lot of
gas,
places
Western
pushing
energy imports
$5 or
to
more
did.
a gallon.
Um,
That's
we are
crazy.
seeing so much irreversible damage take place that
Andre asked me what I'm doing
I
here.
see things only getting
Right.
worse. I don't see how a lot of this
I
can
told
ever
him
be
I'm
fixed now. And
making
many of these prices that we've
fermented
seen
cabbage so he doesn't
absolutely
get sick.
skyrocket and balloon,
He said, well, what do you
they're
mean?
never coming back to
I
any
said,
sort of
well,
normal.
you know, if things
Everything
get
going
real
up
bad,
is going to stay
right?
up. And I
Nana
think
wants
that
to make
a lot
sure
of products out there,
you
yeah,
have
sure,
vitamin
gas is gonna
C.
come back down at some point, but it's never
So
going to
you
come
don't
back
get
down to
sick.
what it was a year ago. You're
And
never
then
going
he
to
asked
see
me
gas out here in California
if I have
at
food with
$2.85
vitamin E.
a
And I
gallon,
said, yes.
$3. Those days are over.
He says, do you have food for
We are
vitamin
never
D?
going
And I said,
back
well, you get
to
that from the
what we
sun,
were, a
but you
year or
can
two
get it
ago.
from milk. And I do
Everything's
have
gonna
powder
cost
milk,
more
a lot
from
of
there
it in
now.
the house.
Yes, it can pull back a little bit, but it's never going to be as
Whole
Our
milk
CEO
and
has told me this
skim
is
milk
his favorite tool that I procured.
and non-fat.
My name is Brandon
Skim milk.
Summers. I am
3
the
different
CFO
kinds.
at Stoplight.
Right.
Stoplight is a dev
And,
tool to create a API.
And then he said
for
something, I don't know what he said.
having the ability
And
to
I said,
see
well,
very
if that's the
quickly
case,
if we
well,
hired
you
this
know, we're
person,
going
what would it do
downstairs,
to our
right?
cash
He says,
reserves,
you have to be
and
brave, Andre.
What would it do to our
I said, that's all we can do is be
was
brave.
something that wasn't
Right.
incredibly easy to find out.
And he
It
goes,
hindered our abilities
oh,
to make
Nana,
decisions.
we have weapons.
As
I said, weapons?
Early stage
He goes,
startup, the majority
I
of
said,
our
weapons? He
offense
goes,
is
yeah, the
spent
swords.
on people.
I said,
It
oh,
really
yeah,
just comes
that's
down
right.
to like being able to
We have
scale
swords.
our
Hold on a minute.
department, smartly and efficiently. Place CPM is a platform that
cheap as it was a year or two ago. Wall Street Journal, higher
I said,
vehicle
yes, we do.
and energy imports
He
pushed
goes, well,
January US
we need
trade
to
deficit
sharpen them, Nana.
to new record. This on the Wall Street Journal. US imports
I said, yeah, you have a
while
point.
exports
I says,
fell,
when
leaving
we're
the trade
downstairs,
deficit,
that's when we'll sharpen them.
get this, $89.7 billion for the month of January. So literally that's
So he's
$90
thinking, right?
billion. That's a $90
But I'm
billion
trying to tell him
trade
that he needs
deficit
to be
start
brave.
out the year. CNN, your toilet paper roll is slimming down.
All right.
The consumer is paying the price here.
I mean,
The
it's
consumer
really
is gonna
sad that
continue to get hammered.
the whole world is up in
We have
arms.
slimmed down
you
toilet
know?
paper, fewer
Like,
cookies.
seriously,
in a
they're
bag, and
trying to
less
get rid of,
conditioner in a tube. The consumer is being
You
suffocated.
know, they want to
and the
bring in their
consumer is
electric
gonna have to pay
cars
more.
and
everything's going up,
their
ladies and
smart
gentlemen.
cities.
And your dollar is going to buy
No,
you
they
less
want to be in a
and
position
less.
where
So
they
this
can
is,
lock everybody up in
another
a
case of
building like China
shrinkflation.
and
We're watching
chain the door
stagflation,
and,
shrinkflation,
you know,
inflation.
and tell you you can't come out,
It's a mess.
right?
And I hope that all of you have been prepared.
What happened to
okay?
all those people that were
If you
locked
think
up
it's
into
bad
their
now,
houses?
wait till you
Well,
see
in
what's
their
coming.
apartments
Another article today.
with chains
China
on the door
considers
where they
buying
can't
stakes
even
in
get out.
Russian energy and commodity
You know,
firms.
it's being reported
It's all been planned out,
somewhere
ladies
in
and gentlemen.
China.
It's all been planned out. You're
150
gonna watch two
people day,
superpowers now,
150
in my
people a
opinion,
day.
take
This
over
was
the
Wuhan, that news
They are gonna control the
outlet
breadbasket. In
was
Europe,
reporting that China is
they're gonna
reporting
control the oil
in
Europe.
Wuhan,
And
where they brought out 5G
Taiwan
people,
is on borrowed
okay,
time, in my opinion.
right?
And China will have full control
There's
of
150 people a
semiconductors,
day dying
microchips.
from the Omicron.
Forget the SWIFT system.
Which,
what is it? The SIP system? that
honestly,
Russia and China
I
now
don't
are gonna
believe
be
it.
using.
Nope. I think it's more like people are starting to starve.
The demise
Yeah.
of the financial
Yeah,
institutions
because a
here
lot
in
of shelves
America
in
passed-
China
the
are
torch
like
is
grocery
being
stores
passed
and
on,
stuff.
ladies
They're
and gentlemen,
completely bare.
And America is not
And when the
included,
government comes
in
and
the
they
party.
lock the people into the buildings and stuff
Another
like that
article
with
from the
no
Hedge
food,
today, we have,
right? We've
US
heard where people have had like no food in
oil
their
and gas
apartments. They
producers,
can't get out, right?
they,
They're not allowed to leave.
suffered
No,
severe
it's more
cyber
than what we're
attacks,
being told here,
back
okay?
in mid-February. Victims
not
of
right.
cyber attacks.
So anyway,
we all have to
you're
be
still
very
here, so
aware
you just gotta do what you
of
can do
retaliation
and be
now,
brave,
of our
okay?
banking system, of
This
our
was a
gas
little more than
and
5 pounds.
oil producers.
And this,
And
I'm
it's
just
only
trying
a
to
matter of
mix
time
this
before
salt
something
around a little
big
bit.
gets shut down. Our financial institutions, a bank,
Everybody's getting
pipeline,
freaked out.
we are very, very vulnerable, ladies and gentlemen, and most people cannot even spend an hour off their phone, a minute away from their computer, from their Netflix, from a basketball game, from a football game. Imagine if things just got shut off. The lights got shut off, your phone got shut off.
I got tons and tons and tons of books.
You better really be thinking. We are in a whole new world here, ladies and gentlemen. It's a whole different
I got a
ballgame.
lot of craft
Most people,
material.
99% of this country
I can sew by hand
is
if I
not
want to.
prepared for what's coming. Most of these people, people playing golf today.
I could even
hope
use
they
a
took
sewing
a look at
machine and
their
just turn the
401ks.
wheel.
I hope they're aware of what's happening to their pensions right now.
Who needs
Hope
hydro?
they're aware of what's happening to their Social Security.
You know what I'm
Hope they're
saying?
aware of what's
I can do
happening to
petty
their dollar,
point.
because it is being destroyed.
Darn socks.
Boeing suspends buying Russian titanium. 1/3 of Boeing's titanium
I don't know.
is sourced from Russia.
Like I say, I feel like I've been here before.
There's gonna be,
This is where you have to just go deep into your subconscious, into your memory before you were born. You have one. You just have to find it.
We're closing down the McDonald's and the Starbucks over there.
Right.
And look, I want peace.
You know.
I want people to come together. I want countries to come together. I don't want to see people hurt and killed. War is a terrible thing.
Yeah, but you see, the
Right
problem
now,
with
what I
that
see,
though is other
Russia's
people
taking
want that.
Ukraine. There will
Well,
be no
they're not
compromise.
even people.
There
Let's be
is
real
no
about it.
discussion. They're taking it. And I believe without a doubt that China
This
will
isn't
be
being
taking
done by
Taiwan
people.
at some point, probably this year.
People are helping to
Nobody is
facilitate
gonna
it
stop
because
them.
they
There are no
think they're going to
sanctions.
get a lot of
The
money
world's
and go
changing.
move
They're
into
just
a
gonna
bunker
find
deep
out
down in the
that
ground and
the
survive
sanctions
whatever
that they
it
put on
is that they're
people,
plotting and
the
scheming
US,
on.
World Reserve currency, the U.S. dollar, is
No,
not what it
this
once
is something
was.
else.
The might of this country, the authority of this country, the power of this country is not
Completely
what it once
something
was. We are
else.
the largest debtor nation on planet Earth. The U.S. dollar is dying. Our authority is dying. And we are
I
no
think
longer
what's
to be
happened
feared.
is the
We've used our
internet has
power, in
allowed
my humble opinion, and now
people
the
in
rest of the
general,
world is gonna turn their backs on the U.S.
to,
dollar, on the U.S. system,
I guess you could say,
and on the
be
U.S.
over
And
opinionated.
they're looking to alternatives right now financially.
You know, be that Rambo, internet
they're looking at
Rambo,
alternatives for food,
where it's easy
and
just
energy,
to spout
and most of the
off
world's gonna figure out
something
they don't need America.
and think that
Asia
you're
is
just
going to be, if
right
not
on
now, the
everything
biggest
that you
economy on
spout.
planet Earth. Asia is the future, and Russia is going to be a part of
And,
that. That really breaks my heart to even have this discussion.
That's why a lot of kids don't listen to their
The
parents
president just signed
anymore.
executive order on
That
regulating
kind of stuff.
and issuing cryptocurrencies this week. What does that mean for
Because they
cryptos?
think they know
You
everything.
tell me. Comment down below. But it doesn't look positive.
It doesn't
And I wanna
affect them when they
address,
say,
as we
oh,
kinda wrap
once you're
this up
70 years old,
today, it's so
you're
much
not
happening.
worth
I've
anything
never
anymore
seen
and it's time to get
these
rid of you,
markets swing
you
as
know,
much as I
so
saw
that
them
you
swing today.
make space for the
Unbelievable.
next
I think we were
generation coming up in the
5.85
ranks
points
until they're
at
70 years old.
and closing
And it's
down
their turn to have the
25
lights
down
shut off.
today
Then they'll be
after
crying a
probably
different tune,
100
right?
times this thing swung
Yeah.
from
Some of this
positive
stuff
territory
that
to
people
negative
say are just so
territory and back and forth.
asinine.
It's crazy. But real quick,
And this
I
Soros person,
beautiful day
like,
today. Somebody commented
with his
yesterday,
stupid
and a
accent,
lot of people commented to this person.
You know?
But they said this:
just
$5.29 a gallon for gas. I
the
can't
guy needs to
afford
be put in an
fuel.
old folks home.
I can't afford food. I can't afford rent. And everything else I can't afford. What can I do? Unfortunately, you could be in big trouble. It may be too late. And there's people out there saying, well, you can start today. It's never too late to prepare. It may be too late for so many people right now. And
I've been doing it for years, people, and I'm not even fully prepared.
To even think that millions of people, it's already too late. The boat
I'm only
has left the dock, ladies and
somewhat
gentlemen.
prepared.
If you haven't been preparing for this time,
It costs a lot of money.
Now, if you have some money, if you have a job,
And most of my investment went into
you
food.
might have a chance. Are you putting food and water away? Do you have security? Do you have barterable items? These are things that you're going to need. Do you have some
Which
cash
is
put away?
Really
But
sad
people right now, so
because
many people are out of work.
the
So many
government's
people
put so much pressure
now
on
have been
people
victimized
just
by
to
this inflation,
survive.
that
Never
they've gone
mind.
through their savings.
Live.
The people who a year ago were collecting the benefit checks and the stimulus.
Oh, my
many
feet
of them
are
went
so
out and
sore.
bought the big screen TVs, took a vacation.
I
bought a new
didn't. I
car.
bought wheat.
And now
Wheat, barley,
the free money
oats,
is over. The party's over. And
corn.
now people are wondering what they're going to do. The bills are coming due.
Oh
And so
yeah,
maybe
I got
too
lots
late.
of bills
And
I
for
have
this
to pay.
individual, if you have a job, if you have some money put away, you know, watch these videos.
I've always
Read the
had
comments
bills.
down below. Make sure you have borrowable items.
And when I
Make sure
almost
you
got
have your
them
debts paid off.
under control,
Many people may have to move back home with their parents.
I got
May have to get roommates,
sabotaged.
do the right thing. People need to get the
And
ego
then
out
extorted.
of the way. You might have to sell the BMW or the Lexus and downsize. You may have to make drastic
see, all these
changes
guys are like
right
middle
now.
class.
And if you don't, you're going to be victimized by this collapse, without a doubt.
They don't
So
really
to this
connect with
person,
poor people like me.
I don't know your financial situation, but if you are working, if you have money, read the comments down below. Watch these videos. Watch other videos. You know, really absorb as much knowledge as you can, as quickly as you can, and listen to people who are thinking outside of the box. Listen to people who are getting out of the system.
Yeah,
Another
listen to
person
Andre.
said that I
Sharpen
seem
the
very happy
sharpen the swords,
that the
Aunt
market's
Nana.
going down. And I responded to this person,
Right?
no, I'm not happy that the market's going down. But I am a realist that these markets are completely artificial, propped up. This is a paper house, a house of cards built on quicksand. Completely artificial, built with trillions of dollars of printed money and borrowed money to build this up, just like the real estate market. And it has no right to be where it is right now. All the corporate buybacks,
So
all the zombie companies.
I guess Biden is talking about
0% interest rates for over a decade.
putting sanctions on China.
Institutional money buying into the real estate market.
I don't
The
know.
Fed buying into the stock market. The Fed
I don't
buying
even know why
treasuries
people put up with Biden,
and
honest to
mortgage-backed
God.
securities. All this fake.
Uncle John
I say
had more
$3
wits about him
bills.
than
No,
that
I
guy,
am
trust me.
not happy, and I get no joy.
Like, he's
out
an
of people
embarrassment to
that
the
are gonna
United
lose it all
States.
and get
He
wiped
really
out.
is.
But let's face it, there's a ton of greed.
Half the time
in
he
these
can't
markets,
even talk
and people
properly.
are playing these markets not as an investment. They're playing
Right.
these
Some of those
markets
people remind me, like, coming in
as
from,
a
like, that
casino
Pelosi,
game, poker,
you know, like,
roulette,
clearly she's an
roulette table,
android
poker
or
game,
a clone gone
slot
wrong.
machine.
Something's wrong with that one
Most
for
people aren't
sure.
investing; they're just strictly gambling.
People put up with it. Why?
And I don't want to see
Why?
anybody get wiped out. But these markets are fake, and we need to see real, true valuations of assets.
See, if you had a
Zombie
bigger
companies need to
bowl,
be wiped out.
when you do a
And we
big
need
batch
the
like
Fed
this,
to
you
get out
could
of these
really just
markets.
get your
We
hands
need a
in there,
free
right?
Market.
Versus
These markets must
pickling
collapse
around
in
with it.
order to be fixed.
But I pretty
In
much
order to
used
have a
7
free
heads of
market.
cabbage.
These markets are controlled and
I gave my
manipulated
son a head of cabbage and I went down there and
by the
I
Fed
took it back.
and greed.
He's going to open up the fridge in the
And
morning and be
most
like,
people
where
in
did
these
my
markets
cabbage go
understand these
to?
markets are very manipulated. They're out of control.
Ah,
Many of
I
these
needed
companies
it.
in these markets don't even make a profit, yet their stocks go up.
Right.
So we're seeing complete criminality.
If this turns out good, I'll probably
and
do it
complete
one more
recklessness in
one
these
more
markets.
time,
They must crash.
assuming that everything is
Another
okay
person wrote me,
in 3
"What
or 4
gold hits
weeks from now, people.
$5,000?" Okay, it's $5,000.
Like,
You
who's-
wanna tell you
who
if gold hits
talks like that?
$5,000, I'm probably not
Assuming
going to
that
leave my
everything
house.
is
The world
okay,
will
people,
be
in 3-4 weeks, I'm
a
going to
different
ferment
place.
another batch of
And
cabbage.
Be careful what you wish for, ladies and gentlemen. Is it possible gold can hit $5,000
Right.
without a doubt? It
At
could
the
go
rate that we're
$10,000.
going.
If we see a new world reserve currency,
I don't know how
come
many jars
maybe,
I'll get
say,
here.
China,
Probably at least
or even
12.
America. If America got smart,
Pint size.
we would have to,
All right, more than that, maybe. That right there was probably maybe
and it would have to be
8
backed by
jars.
gold, and we would have to revalue the currency.
know.
What would it be?
It'll be over a
It would
case
probably be at
anyway.
least $10,000.
And then the next batch I do, I'm going to try it with something else, like with caraway seeds or something, right?
I'd much rather, listen,
Do-
I would
make
much
it just a
rather
little
see
different.
gold stay under
This is just
$2,000
your
and have things
standard-
stable, and have peace in the world,
Standard
and get back to a free
cabbage and salt.
non-manipulated
Nothing
stock
more,
market.
nothing less.
Then
And then the next one, when I have more time,
$5,000 an ounce,
Oh.
because I know what the world's going to look like at that point.
Try
Be
something a little
careful what you
different.
wish for, Because the higher gold goes, it's telling you
And I'll
something.
probably shred some
It's sending you a
carrots.
message that
Now, mind
things
you,
are uncertain,
if I
they're
if I
volatile,
ferment
they're
anything
getting out of
else,
control.
I'll have to
And
do
that's
it
why
in
we're
my
seeing gold
1 gallon
creeping
jug
up now. Gold
that I
is
have
up
with
over
no lid on it.
$2,000 today. It broke the all-time record.
we'll
I think
see.
it was
I might
$2,077.
Do
at the
some
peak
shredded
today.
carrots.
And gold is telling you
They'll
get
sit
ready
nice in the
for
fridge.
much more volatility.
Good for Amari,
And
those
I'm
ones.
telling you, it's getting very, very pricey to buy gold. I don't know when I'll be making my next gold purchase. If you can afford it and you want to buy some, go to my link down below, SD Bullion. Fantastic company. Buy it from wherever you want to buy it from. Don't buy it. Buy the effing dip if you want to. Go buy some more stocks. Go buy some crypto. Buy whatever you
So
want to buy.
patience
If you
is a
want to buy
virtue.
gold, silver, SD Bullion's been a phenomenal company. Thanks to all the people out
Right.
there that recommended them to me 3 years ago. I've been an avid user. I'm going to leave it there today. But
That's why I'm going
look
to do
out
butter in a
for
few days from
danger,
now.
Will
Take a break.
Robinson. Look
Do
out
other things.
for volatility.
Yard,
Look
I have to get
for
out in the yard
uncertainty.
soon.
Look out for these markets
Yep.
to do
I want to start
crazy
some
things. These
seeds
markets are
inside
losing control.
with my
Let me
grow
tell you
lights.
something. They are losing
Try
control
that.
of these markets. I don't think
Right.
they anticipated
But
what Russia
I
was
still
going
have to
do,
bag
and
up
now
this wheat.
we've got
I'm
China in the mix,
keeping,
and this could get
like I said,
really, really ugly, really dangerous. And you
keeping
better be
busy like
protecting
this
yourselves
every day, all
financially,
day long.
physically, spiritually, and mentally. Big things are coming, ladies and gentlemen. It's 2022. It's only March. Look what's happening. What do you think this is going to look like in summer? Watch out now for the housing market. When the housing market goes, all hell breaks loose.
Are you listening?
Stay safe.
See, this is where my landlady has me fighting hard for her. In terms of, not only is she guaranteed to get her rent, even though it's not exactly what she wants, because nothing should disrupt that. Like I said, I've got food, so rent comes first. Then the gas and the rest of the bills. But if, governments are starting to get stupid and try and take my landlady's assets, I don't know. Then in essence, they're going to be evicting a severely disabled child that their employees through the healthcare system injured on purpose. For nefarious reasons, in my opinion, people. But we're dealing with a very ruthless government, so how much would they care about that? I don't know. If you come across a bigger piece because you missed it when you were slicing it, just cut a little bit. I just cut my nail. I've been trying to avoid cutting my finger. Okay. So I've got that a little better now. Now I just have to let it just seep a bit more. Just add a bit more salt. Should be about right. One less thing to do. I'll show you where I'm at with things. See, that's looking good. Hey, don't you think? Right. Before I add any liquid, I'm just going to cover it up and let it sit for the night. And then tomorrow, when it starts getting dark, around 6 or 7 or 8, that's when I'll top it off if it needs it. I got a little bit in here. And then whatever this, after this shrinks down a bit, I'll fill this up, which this is probably about here. So it should be enough to fill up this. I might have to squeeze in another inch. I'll cheat. I'll just squeeze in about another inch because this is slow. This is shrinking a bit more now. It shrunk another inch. So, you see, you want to see something? You see this? That's a salt rock for cows and horses and deer, right? But it's 100% salt. I bought a bunch of these for a project, which we haven't started yet. And we saw them with a hacksaw and just kind of, I don't know, try and make them a little smoother, because you can use this as a deodorant, natural deodorant. Okay, so I'm pretty much going to finish this video. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take a few leaves, and for now I'm just going to cover them up and use them to cover up what's inside before I put these weights down on it. And then tomorrow I am going to look in it, take the leaves off, see how much liquid I got, right? And if I need to, I'll add a bit more brine, because it should be about an inch or so over your stuff, right? And now I have an excuse to go shopping, right? Not that I have any money to go shopping. It's right here. Where's my finger? Yeah. I never can get this camera right. I don't know why. But it's okay. It doesn't fit completely tight in there anyway. So I'm pushing this down. Right? Hopefully I won't have to add any more brine. And I have a few cabbage leaves left over. The outer ones, right? They're in the kitchen. So I'll probably cook up some rice tomorrow. And I don't really have enough to make cabbage rolls, but I can kind of do a modge podge of rice and cabbage and some kind of tomato sauce or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. And then the rabbits will get the cores. Right. So nothing went to waste. That's for sure. Nope. Nothing. So, end of this video. Probably a long video. I like these. Now this water one, you put water in the rim. I really like this tool. That's handy. Yeah. Very handy. Works really well. Oh, wow. 7 heads of cabbage. Can you believe that? Isn't this just lovely? I so like this. I am so lucky to have it. Now you see it should be an inch over those things. And then you skim off any little pieces that come to the surface. And then it has this beautiful, beautiful lid. This is so nice. Look how nice that is. I so like that. I so like that. I want another one. And then there's this one. So I'm going to put a bit of water in there. Right. And then tomorrow I'll check them. And I'll put a little sticker somewhere here so I can not forget when I did this. So when I'm going to give it 3 to 4 weeks because I want to can this. Okay? So I'm kind of following the recipe because I can can this, and that's the whole point of the exercise here.